Hello, welcome to my Sunday from. I just got off of live streaming on TikTok. Nothing was happening, I got to write in my journal an entry, and obviously, it's about um, probably the most requested topic this week, and it wasn't a recipe, um, I kind of, every time I took a shower, I thought about it, and so now I can kind of say my piece. I bathe a lot, but anyways, um, I know, I know what you're thinking, and I know you're gonna be like, "Oh, well, you sound impartial to this person, or neutral here, or whatever." But I will say one thing that my heart is dedicated and my passion is red pill. So if you're not interested in red pill theory or the philosophy thereof, I mean, I don't police what you watch. I'm just saying this is my channel and I run the show. And I don't want to sit here and dispel all these myths and fables and fairy tales that you've believed in for so long. Um, because you're grown, you're an adult. You need to live to have experience, and you need to be experienced in life. And if you're not, you'll never be woke enough to grasp the gravity of the world around you. And I mean that when I say that. And I mean what I say. Because I feel like nobody can change your mind. And I don't know why you think that somebody can change your mind. They can brainwash you, as you have seen. They can expose you to crazy things and fearmonger you and instill fear and hate inside of you. And to the point where, I mean, even I have been deprogrammed. So, um, I can't tell you the resentment that I don't feel. What I can tell you is the stories behind them. And with that, I can enlighten you on maybe a reasonable concept that you can chew on, you can withstand, and you can swallow this, because it's not a whole word salad. It's not a petty excuse for nothing, you know. Um, and I I really mean that. Like, what you experience in your world, it has to come from your own point of view. You know, like, you can't vicariously experience something and think that you know. Like, I know how this immigrant feels. No, you don't. And even if you were deported in 1960, you wouldn't know what it feels like in 2026. Oh, well, I know how that officer must feel. What they were feeling back in 1970 is not the same feeling as 2026. Um, and let's say Alex Preddy, a terrorist. Oh, I can sympathize with him. Hold on, because I have something for you. Because in America, our biggest flex, our flaunt, our biggest boast is freedom. It's pure and simple. We do not live on faith alone. we believe that the foundation of this nation was concreted in building that through having freedom, not just freedom for you to do whatever the fuck you want, not just freedom for the government to do their work, freedom to have taken this land and established the body of government that now we call the United States of America. And if you can't appreciate what freedom is, then you will never get it. You will never appreciate it. And you will never understand, comprehend, or grasp the despair once it is threatened, taken, or sabotaged. So when you encounter me and you think that you got me all right, or you ambush me and think that you could get me all fucked up, I'm sorry, but I'm not the one. Okay? Because I would not be here having fought tooth and nail for you, a peasant, to be all up in my face about your politics when you never made not one law, when you never were held a podium in any city, in any county, in any state within these borders. Because in that instance, you had me fucked up in the first place. Before you could even, I don't know. But what I'm saying is absolutely 100% factual based and true. And going into this, I just want to tell you that if you think you know my story, that's where you got me fucked up. Besides, I don't hide nothing from nobody. And the one thing that I want you to have learned here on my channel is that you can do for your people. And together, anything is possible. And also, I want you to understand exactly what opposition is when you have all the freedoms in the world and there's people who lack the accountability, the respect, and the self-discipline to keep their hands off of your freedoms. Those are called the opposition. So anybody who opposes your right to live the way you want is terrorists. Because this country is based on freedom. Freedom. And when you see your officials, your government saying, hey, you can't do that here. I want you to support them. I want you to do the right thing and speak up against the tyrants, the occupation, and the coup. When they sit there and sign their whole day away trying to push paperwork to bring us back to something more palatable than the Biden era, I want you to put your hands together and applaud that effort. Because if you can shake your fist at my body of government, then you can wag your finger at the Jacob Freys of the world. Keep that same energy, but point that finger at the right one. And when it comes to the ballot, I don't want you sitting there slobbering on your pillows, sitting on your asses. I don't want you sitting there fattening up with a cheeseburger. I don't want you sitting there, grilling out a hamburger, acting like nothing's happening. And then later when you watch the news, you pop in and say, hey, Maison de France. However y'all say my name. And then you just unleash on me. Or worse, you give me the cold shoulder. Like I even know you fucking exist. Or at best, you know what I'm saying? I learned from somebody else. You had a whole crash out on live. It's a shit show out there. And because you think that I'm accessible, it's like I'm supposed to play the clown that gets the pie in the face. No. Like I said, I'm not the one. But since my people requested it, I'll continue. Alex Preddy is a VA nurse who is radicalized. And as soon as Jacob Frey and his sidekick, Brian O'Hara, gave him the orders, he approached a group of officers concealing a weapon with two others. One was immediately knocked to the ground, only to rise and take on two other agents. Now that was the funny part, because they look like the Three Stooges. What happened? Right next to them. It wasn't funny at all. Why they were there wasn't comedic at all. Another was pushed as well and stumbled onto the first suspect. They were both maced, but not before combative Preddy resisted arrest. After being told to leave, he was then brought to his knees to be handcuffed by several agents. He produced a handgun and was thrown to the floor. And as soon as more officers arrived, he was disarmed and shot. And that happened in an instance. Which one came first, the chicken or the egg? The chicken or the egg? That's what the theory is right now. Everybody's like, what came first, the egg or the chicken? The chicken or the egg? So you have a man who is radicalized. You have a group, a mob, a lynch mob, who is radicalized. And I'm sorry, I can't just say that. I can't just say that. They're terrorists. We're gonna be grown adults here on my Son de France channel. They are terrorists. They're trying to take our democracy, our freedom to live how we want through vote. They are terrorists. That is not debatable. It's fact. It's fact. You can look it up in an encyclopedia and read exactly what this coup is up to. That's how boring they are. That's how simple they are. They're predictable by now. And so these 3 individuals were sitting there, enticing the agents, trying to ambush them and corner them and set them up to where they would be gunned down by one of them. And because one of them wasn't shook at all, he was very confident and he was very, very strong that he was using all his might against the officers, leading them to suspect him of causing even greater harm. And just right when they clued into this, instinctively the other officers ran. And all the reports say it was just Preddy. That Preddy was targeted. This white nurse was targeted by agents, by federal agents. That DHS was picking on that poor male nurse. So that's not true. There was 3 of them, and all of them were getting mazed. They were all getting handcuffed. Like, they were all getting detained. But the one that was so certain that he could outmaneuver them had actually intended to do the worst heinous crime, the 187. And he ended up with this weapon in his hand as he was forced to put his hands behind his back. So as everybody started moving and acting and responding, in an instant, his life was taken. He paid the ultimate price for terrorism. And when after that gun was removed from his hand, he was neutralized. The most important thing, the most important impact of the story, the most important outcome that could have been produced by such a heinous, vile, event in history. He no longer posed a threat because they acted according to their training. And it was because of these agents. They are all alive today. All of our agents are alive today because they responded quickly and reacted and thoroughly, did their duty. Because if it was anybody else out there, they could have took a bullet too. And Lord knows what else those people were doing. We don't want to find out. We don't need to know the rest. when their interest is not us, when their interest is opposing us, we're not in their mind meant to survive this tragedy. But you see, because we do have Donald J. Trump as our president right now, they responded accordingly and appropriately. Because, like I said, he was neutralized at the scene. And I think the response time, once you see the weapon and you understand that all these men can't take him down, I think that's exactly what was called for. And given there wasn't just one, there was three. The outcome would have been way worse. But like I said, they're on their aching. And for everybody to doubt that is crazy talk. So there was a huge group, very much like they expected the outcome to prove deadly on our side. These are followers of a coup. They intend to destroy our country, our patriotism, our unity. And with that comes sympathy. Those people who hold this sentiment are referred to as sympathizers. People who hold sympathy for a coup, the opposition, or an occupation in a country are considered sympathizers. And in plain terms, those are terrorists. You can sit there, eat your potato chips in front of the TV and watch them go, quote unquote, and sympathize with, like I said, that coup. And you, too, are considered a terrorist. There's no debate. And without allowing the checks and balances to work for the body of government, this soon becomes an uprising. So the active pursuit of removing democracy from a free country is uprisal. The continued propaganda pushed out by corrupt officials, the coup, themselves, media outlet, and now sympathizers. This is not a time to throw your hands up in despair. We are one. We are united. We are the people. And our second term president, Donald J. Trump, already began signing documents to ensure our sense of security continues into the future. They tried to starve us out last November, and again, that opportunity arose. And now they took this concept yet again and ran with it. In case you haven't heard, the government shutdown. They have plans to shut this government down, and they don't have plans to reopen it. And without that comes severe consequence, as we've seen before. We are in a nationwide natural disaster. And because we have all never been prepared to be locked in due to unforeseen circumstances such as extreme weather, coast to coast, things are just prime for the coup to use their power of authority to oppress the citizens of our country, the people. This year, we will carry on knowing this sentiment is alive within our protected borders and become more aware by being a part of your country. We'll be more responsible by vote and understanding these two events, they dismissed us. They are not reasons to allow them to continue. These are reasons to disallow that they continue using those podiums, titles, and offices they occupy against us. We'll rise up and not stand against we will rise up and stand against the public display of advert treason, which has no place in our cities and states. Together, we'll bring awareness and be vigilant and careful to ensure our nation to prosper and be freed of the tyranny instilled in our homeland by Sleepy Joe and your Kamala. Because it is until that conversation is open, we can discuss how to build up defenses, how and whom to prosecute. No, I don't. But that's what I wrote down, prosecute. So to those 5, Tim Waltz, Sleepy Joe, your Kamala, Jacob Frey, and Brian O'Hara, you're done. So if you like this video, give it a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Might sound different. Bye-bye.